everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Andrea. It's nice to have you guys here. I just wanted to do an update on my initial review and first impressions of the productivity planner. I bought this back last May, so I've had it for about 9 months now. It sounded like just what I kind of needed at the time. I was past my comps, but I was starting to work on my dissertation, and then it just felt like it wasn't quite functioning for me the way that I felt I needed it to. I felt like I was doing fine with my bullet journal and I didn't really need this, and it felt a bit redundant. But I started using it again in January 1st, because I was desperate with a capital D. I was absolutely desperate to get going on my dissertation again. I was down to the last couple chapters, 3 chapters, and just really needed to get them done. And yeah, was just really struggling. And so I was kind of using everything in my arsenal as far as planning went and being efficient. So I started using this again, and I've actually kind of I continued using it, and I feel like it is working a little bit better, but I've kind of tweaked how the journal is meant to be used. So I'm going to flip the camera around and give you a quick run through of the journal, so that if you don't feel like going and watching the old video, you'll still get a quick one, but I'm gonna go over it a lot quicker. Okay, so I've kind of got it propped up a little bit. We'll see if that works. It does give you a bit of kind of the concept and the kind of thought process behind the book and how to use the book, tips on, or kind of backstory on planning and how to really do a good to-do list, and a bit on the Pomodoro method. Yeah, just kind of real general productivity efficiency tips, as well as how to use the productivity planner. So if you want to use it specifically as it's intended, it does kind of walk you through all of that. When I first used it, I was liking it, but I felt like it wasn't... I liked the master list at the start. I liked having the 5 tasks to focus on in the day. I liked the notes section, and I did kind of like bits of the weekly review. But if we flip to where I'm at now, I'm just gonna go back to the first week that I started using again, January 1st. So I was still getting ready to email or submit chapter 5. I still had chapter 6, 7, and chapter 1 to write. The way that they have it set up is the 5 most important tasks of the week, and then the tasks of secondary importance, and then additional tasks. And that was a bit confusing for me when you get to the daily tasks, because you've got your most important task, 2 secondary tasks, and 2 additional tasks. Well, it doesn't really translate then, because this list is the 5 most important tasks, and the secondary tasks are supposed to only be done after you've done these first 5. Well, these first 5 were always, the 5 most important things of the week were kind of the really big things. And if I tried doing them all in the first couple days, I would completely burn myself out. So what I tended to do was each of these tasks become the most important task of each day, Monday through Friday. And then these tasks get divided up within the secondary tasks, and then the additional tasks get divided up within the additional tasks. So rather than having, Monday be all 5 of these things, Monday will be task number 1, although I think here, I started working on some of the other things. I can't remember, but emailing was just a quick thing, but still really important. I kind of write this where this list is kind of my main Monday task, my main Tuesday task, my main Wednesday, my main Thursday, my main Friday. And then these tasks get divided up between the secondary and additional tasks of the week. The other thing that I started doing was adding in my appointments, to these tasks. So I won't put an appointment in here. Basically, you list out 15 tasks here, but then you get 5 per day, so that gives you 25 tasks total throughout the week that you could do. So you're not going to have everything on here. You're going to be able to add some additional tasks throughout the week from what you write down here. So this will be where I kind of brain dump all the things that I think really need to get done, but then there will be things that get added into the additional tasks on each day. You'll see I put in physical therapy on this day. I've also put in some of my other appointments on other days. I had a hair appointment and therapy on this day. Those take up time in my day. I don't have a normal Monday through Friday 9 to 5 job schedule, so I have appointments and things at random times during the week. If I have a day where I've got an appointment, or like this day where I had 2 appointments and therapy takes up 1 hour, my hair appointment takes up about 2, especially when I add in driving time, that's 3 hours out of my day. So if I'm also then planning 8 solid hours of work time, there's no way I'm gonna get things done. And so that's kind of how I was using it before, and it just made me really stressed because I wasn't getting through everything. So this is helping me kind of be a bit more realistic in my planning by putting in my appointments. And those go in as additional tasks. But again, I'm not using it in the same way of this is the most important. If this is the only thing I get done, then that's what I do. And then I don't always go through it in this order because of my appointments. So basically how I'm using it is I'm giving myself one big task that is 2 to 3 hours. It gives you 5 Pomodoro bubbles, so that's technically 2.5 hours. I'll give myself one task that's going to require 2 to 3 hours of solid focus, and then I'll give myself a couple tasks that are like an hour or so a little bit smaller. So I knew these were stuff that I could do in like an hour or so, and then I had my 2 appointments. So, but then on other days, you know, here I had to write analysis 1, so I had started it on this day, but I was going to finish working on it on this day. I also added in emailing someone because I needed to email that person. I'd put it off too long, so I knew it would take me just a few seconds. So I had 2 most important tasks. But then I had to film a video and send another email, and then my 2 kind of additional tasks were to edit the video and to take out some trash. So I'll also put things like do the dishes, do laundry, so household chores and like life admin stuff can be down here. This kind of just helps me map out my 8 hours, whether that includes chores or appointments or work. I think there are some days here where, you know, here it's mostly work. Finish writing analysis 1, start writing analysis 2, read another chapter of the book that I was doing a book review for. I had 1 appointment, and then I wanted to take out another box of trash. Some days it'll be more work stuff, other days it will be other things. It's going to be different for everyone. I think that was one thing that I found. I also started using the weekly notes as a general weekend to do. This book does not really allow you to plan for the weekend. It's designed Monday through Friday and you take the weekends off, or 5 days and then 2 days off, because you can fill in any day. It's designed for 5 work days and then 2 days off. But I tend to do things, I still like to plan things on the weekend. So sometimes I'd fill up the weekly notes with stuff ideas that I had while I was working of things that I needed to do, or it's also where some of these things would then get put into. So basically I feel like the book is designed fairly rigid. Like there is a specific way that they want you to use the book or to use the planner, and it just, when I was first using it, it just wasn't working with me very well. The way that I work, the way that I'm kind of most productive, it was just kind of counterintuitive to how I was working and how my days tend to get planned, because I don't have a traditional schedule. So because I kind of have a very flexible schedule and I can do appointments and stuff during the day, my schedule is kind of not the same. But those appointments kind of take the place of, I don't feel like I'm less productive than someone who has a traditional office job because I don't have conference calls and department meetings and things like that that take up time. So I can't remember where I read it. I think it was in something I saw on Pinterest, some infographic. It wasn't in this book, but somewhere I saw that we're only really productive for 4 to 5 hours every day. When you in an 8-hour workday, we're really only productive for about half of that time, 4 to 5 hours. And when I look at my day-to-day, that's really accurate. I'm really focused and productive and efficient for about 4 to 5 hours, and then the rest of my day is appointments, chores, driving around, that sort of thing, replying to emails, and all the little things that you tend to not put on your list. Who I would recommend this planner to, because it is, I think, like $20 or $22 on Amazon. So I don't think it's for everyone. I think a lot of what you can do in this book, you can do in a bullet journal if you are already keeping a bullet journal. I'm not sure that I would buy a second one when I fill this up. If you use this every single day, it will get you through 6 months. So I think if you have a big short-term project that you're trying to manage, I think this would be really good. I've seen like goals journals, but I almost think this would be just as effective, especially if you also keep a bullet journal. So like, I don't think I would have this plus get a goals journal plus keep using my bullet journal. I feel like this is all I need on top of my bullet journal. But I did recently recommend it to my sister because she was wanting something to help her be a bit more organized and be a bit more productive, but she didn't really seem to want to do a bullet journal. So I think if you're just looking for something to help you plan out your 8-hour workday a bit better, then this would be really good. Like I said, it's not really going to plan out your whole life, but I'd say if you're someone who really hasn't quite gotten onto the bullet journal trend, although I still strongly recommend that because it's free. You just need a journal, any cheap journal will do, and a pen or pencil, and you can do a bullet journal. So whereas this is $20 some. But I'd say for students and for people who do work a traditional 8 to 5, 9 to 5, and have that 8-hour work day where you do have kind of your daily and weekly tasks, I think something like the productivity planner would be really helpful in cutting through all the noise and getting you to really prioritize what are the most important, what are the second most important, and what are things that would be nice to get done in a week or in a day, but if it doesn't get done, it's not the end of the world. If you're not used to doing that kind of prioritizing, this is really good. Also, if you're not familiar with Pomodoro and you're not familiar with the Ivy Lee method, this is really great. I can see a lot of people who would benefit from going through this planner at least once. I can imagine how for some people this might be what they use all day, every day, all year long, and they would go through 2 of these books every year because, you know, it's just, I do like having this open on my desk. I find that with my bullet journal, I get distracted a lot. So I will sometimes leave my bullet journal closed during the day and I'll keep just this open. So I'm just focused on those 5 tasks. And then I use the notes section on each page either to write a recap of how the day went or to write down notes of things that I don't want to forget. And so then at the end of the day, when I'm going through and like checking everything off and then kind of cross-referencing that with the lists that I have in my bullet journal, if there was something like, look up this item on Amazon, or don't forget to do this chore, or whatever, then I can transfer those notes into my bullet journal. So sometimes this has really been helpful as a way of having a more streamlined desktop and just keeping me from feeling like my brain has too many tabs open. Really, it's that feeling. I am definitely glad that I bought this. I do not regret the purchase. I was kind of back in the summer looking at it thinking, that's $22 that I can't get back and I'm not really using it. And so I did for a little while feel like, oh. But I'm glad I made myself start using it again because it has been really helpful. I would recommend it to people who are wanting to just try to be a bit more productive and a bit more efficient. If your current methods aren't really helping you, I think this would be a really good planner to try out. And then I think some people might I can see how some people might really get into it and want to continue using it beyond the 6 months, whereas others might feel they've learned everything they need to and then take what they learned and take the format into a traditional bullet journal or something like that. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. The several months later update is I do not regret the purchase. I am using it again. I think I will fill this up. This is definitely going to get me through finishing my dissertation, the job search, graduating, and then probably still have a couple months left for wherever I start working. I do like that it's small. I can see how this might be what I take to the office with me on a daily basis and leave my bullet journal at home because especially in the current cover that I use, there is a significant size difference. So I will probably do another follow-up once I have finished this book. But yeah, I definitely feel a lot stronger now about recommending it to people. I do think it's worth the price to go through it at least once, but I would say definitely learn from my lessons in that once you learn the rules and try using it for a few weeks the way they intend it, if it's not quite working for you, it's okay then to start breaking their rules and doing what works for you, as long as you're still using the kind of main ideas. Even though I'm not using it exactly as they intended, I haven't broken the rules that much. I've just made it fit my life and my brain a little bit better. So I think it has increased my productivity, even though I'm not using it exactly as they say, if that makes sense. And this video has gotten long. Hopefully I'll have been able to edit it down to something manageable. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will also probably do a follow-up in another 4 or 5 months as I near the end of it and let you know how things have gone throughout. Say hi in the comments, leave questions in the comments, and I will see you all again soon in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.